Home equity and how an agent markets and sells your home to actualize that equity is what we're going to be talking about today. Before we get into all that, please like, comment, subscribe, share. All those fun things really help grow the channel, support local small business here in Wichita, both with ourselves and then all the other endeavors we do and ancillary services that come with that. So this is a continuation of two shorter videos that I did around how much equity do you have in your house, so that you can start to understand how much equity you have, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. There's more than you might think. And I'm going to use an example scenario that we're doing right now for someone we're getting ready to list their house for, to paint you the picture of where they're at, where they thought they're at, and then how some of this works. And then also not just where's that equity report at, how do we get that equity, and how do we market, advertise, list, sell, negotiate, close on that home to actually get that equity out of the house appropriately. So both through digital means, physical means, and then also just good old fashioned human behavior and back and forth. And I shouldn't really say good old fashioned because we're learning about human behavior more and more every day. And that's really what we specialize and geek out on here. But I'm gonna go ahead and screen share so I can kind of just break it down and show you a few things instead of sitting here listening to me flap my jaws. So like I said, we're going over home equity, how we determine home equity, and then also how we market and sell your home in order to capture that and actualize that equity. Because ultimately the equity doesn't mean much until you have it. And otherwise it's just on paper. So this individual, we're using an example of how we're going to determine equity. So that way we can come through pricing and some of the understandings of how real estate works and where things are actually at, not from your popular opinion, hearsay, some of the different ins and outs, giving you full transparency of the industry and real estate and how it works. So that way you understand it. And then also you understand the value of what a good marketing and sales agent does in real estate. And then why there is such a stigma around agents and failing to do a lot of these things I'm about to show you. So straight off, this house is on the west side of Wichita. To give you an idea of it. Actually, I just realized I should pull up Google Maps, show you where it's at in real time. And I have to be very careful when I do a good amount of this that I'm not releasing anybody's private financial information. So all of this information is public knowledge, or I'm not releasing anybody's contact info within what I'm about to share you. So YouTube, please don't take this down because I'm not showing anything that can't be known publicly or serviced. What I am sharing and showing to you is my knowledge around this information and how to understand it all and pull it all off. So 2702 Yellowstone Court. It's on the west side of Wichita. Actually, it's Yellowstone Street. So it's a corner lot. There we go. So it's over here off of Pawnee and Maize area in Wichita. Pretty nice little suburban neighborhood. The cool part about it is it doesn't have an HOA. So that's a big appealing thing about this house. There's kind of the exterior piece of it. And what's amazing is you can do about 95% of this work without actually seeing the house. It's really just needing to see the house to verify it with how much information you can find online, because most of these things happen digitally anyway. So that's the property structure we're looking at. Looking at tax record, it's a 5-bed, 3-bath, 2-car garage, 1396 up. 1232 down, by level, walk through the house, all that's fairly accurate. And actually, if you go to, obviously I did a walkthrough, assess this house in person with this owner to assess his equity. We can do this on your house also. And for the sake of time, I'm trying to run through this as fast as possible. But this shows you what we do to determine equity. There's a house that's actually fairly accurate as far as the color scheme that's on it. So we know from Google Maps what it looks like. We know from tax record what's going on. And then we also go into the MLS here, which is our back end screen. And I will show you what I'm allowed to show you because of Kansas being a non-disclosure state. But I can't fully show you everything because we got to comply with the laws and everything else that goes with it. But the way we determine equity is we do a map search around that area, as you can see. So this is everything that has sold or is pending in the last 6 months in that neighborhood. You can see where the subject property is at and one. And so there's been 9 listings that have either been listed, actively listed, or sold. So all the blues are sold, purple are pending. And our house, if we go back and look at it, is 2,632 square feet from what we can see. So there's actually past records we can look at too. 2,632 square feet is what we have on record. So that gives you an idea of the way, and I can break down this and show you an email for your personal situation, but this is a very quick 30,000 foot overview to determine how we see where equity's at. But ultimately, at the end of the day, your equity is what you actually get at the end of the table when you sell it, because a house is worth whatever buyer's willing to pay it for, and you can get it financed or appraised or pay cash for, and a seller's willing to sell it for. So that's really what things are worth. And a lot of these are estimates, best case scenarios, because in a free market, you know, where buyer and seller can negotiate and see what they want to pay for something, which is what real estate is. There isn't like a Kelly Blue Book or somebody saying like, here's what it's worth. It's worth whatever buyer and seller are willing and able to pay for it. And then you can get an appraiser to back up, which is what we also use this determination factor in line with what appraisers look at and also what buyers look at. But ultimately, we don't entirely know till we put it on the market and we actually sell it, which is going to be the second half of this video I'm going to get into. So the first part is the equity piece. So we're going over here with 2,632 square feet is the amount of square footage we're dealing with here. And so generally what appraisers and buyers are looking at, or what are houses generally going for in the area, which is that's where this price point you kind of see in the whole neighborhood, what they're generally going for. Then you go to this MLS default sheet and you look at price, then price per square foot, then bedrooms, bathroom, garage size, and then condition, then finishes. And then you also want to take into account the days on market. So you can see the average days on market for this neighborhood of these past 9 records is 16 days. So some of these are selling real quick. Other ones are taking 31 days, 13 days, 36, 55. So this is where we want to assess the market of your neighborhood and your specific house, to not just look at the equity, but how long it could take to get that equity, as long as it's priced well, it's marketed, advertised well, and negotiated well on all this. So on this particular one, we're going to start right around this 300,000 mark, just like where these people are at 2598. This one down below is 2604. They were both 4-bed, 3-bath, 2-car garages, which ours is a 5-bed, 3-bath, 2-car garage. With it does have some deck issues and windows, but we're going to offer a $10,000 credit for that, to give you an example. And then you can keep coming down where this 2091, there's a 323 with 0 days on the market, sold for 267. So we're all within the wheelhouse of starting at 300 to see where it could come in at. Now, as far as determining your equity, you take the sale price minus the commission structure that we charge, which I'm not going to get into that video right now. That's more of a personal negotiation and service level package that we can discuss with you in person. This at least helps you, give you an idea of, you take the price minus the commissions being charged, minus title fees, and then also you want to account for and plan for a few negotiations in there, whether that be buyer costs, repair requests, things like that to expect. From there, you can take that amount and then subtract it based on what you still owe from the property to give you an idea of what you would net and what you come out with at the end for your ultimately your equity on all that. And I know you're probably thinking, well, couldn't I sell it myself? Couldn't I FSBO? I was like, you can try, more power to you. That's what I did before I got my license, when I was in construction, flipping houses. And nothing against you, but 87% of those go to an agent. They ended up getting them more money anyway. So no harm, no foul if you try, but just know that if you do, it does become a tarnished, damaged listing that people have seen before. So in a lot of ways, it's best to just start with the professionals right away, like you're seeing. But that's how we determine equity. We can kind of check out Zillow. See, it says Zillow says it's at 286,400, so not terribly off. Obviously, the pictures are outdated, but even if Zillow says it's worth that or has that, the question becomes like, just because Zillow says it, or this MLS says it, or an appraiser says it, or whoever says it, doesn't matter. Can you get a buyer to actually buy it for that? That's the other side of this equation, is you have to ultimately have someone willing to pay that, willing to do that. So it's like, okay, we might see an idea of price on paper and that kind of thing, but how do we actually get that to happen? Which is the second part of this video, which is how an agent market and advertises your house to ultimately get it sold. So the first thing we're going to go over in our video, we got all the different ways that we have in there from the shorter version that we went over. And that's part of it, is putting in MLS, also our big pink yard signs, open house signs, for sale signs, this real estate agent website that we drive traffic to, social networking, and the virtual tours. So we pull out basically all the stops we can to get your house as much exposure, as much advertising as possible. And And so this is the website that we use, that we drive a lot of traffic to. That's my website. There's multiple websites we drive it to. Also, I want to give you, not that, my resume package. So not to gloat and be like, oh, look at me, but just to give you an idea of how many 5-star reviews we have, how many houses we sold. I've been doing this for 8 years. I've been in construction, and I got into license to flip houses because I was dissatisfied with my agent services. So I got in the industry to solve that problem, not to just be lazy and make a bunch of big, easy money with it. It's more to solve a problem of a need for advanced marketing and sales skills that agents are needed right now. And you can see the amount of specialized trainings I've gone through from both an investor side, developer side, marketing side, modern sales side, even life coaching side, Reiki 1 and 2 side, so that we can understand people. So that's a lot of the trainings that come through with it. So this is what you're getting out of me as an agent, as an individual, plus all of our marketing and sales strategies. So advanced negotiation strategy, we can negotiate in from the buy side. And then also the most important one, like we're talking about here, is on the selling side. Listing and launching your house well is the most important piece of this whole equation for all that. So, and there's 3 things that get a house sold: advertising, marketing, advertising, online eyeballs, lead systems, showings, feedback reports, which I'm going to show you here in a second, but then also conditions and price. The terms and the incentives to generate offers, offer warranties, costs, like this one we're looking at on Yellowstone. We're offering a $10,000 credit in lieu of messing with the deck or the windows, and they can use that whichever way, shape, or form they choose to. And then obviously price. The longer it sits, the worse it gets. And ultimately, if people are looking at it, they're looking at eyeballs, it's not selling. They all sell, just for a matter of how much and when. And you either got to drop the price or just ride it out for that one right buyer to come through, which we're starting to see more of on everything. So like I said, not going to get into service package options and commissions. That's more on a case-by-case negotiations. Not that I don't want to be transparent, just that I don't want YouTube to take this down. A bunch of other people give me flack and crap. I can send all this stuff to you individually, on a one-on-one basis, but they don't allow me to publicly put all this stuff out there. So following the rules. So back to this. So MLS, yard sign, open house, my real estate agent website. You can also go look at this anytime you want at wichitahomehero.com. Links should be down below also. And here's our professional process to give you an idea. It's way more than just putting a for sale sign in the yard and throw it in the MLS. Obviously it starts with pricing and strategy that goes with that, media and marketing. I was just doing a couple yesterday where we were walking through with our 3D camera. I was doing my virtual tour for my YouTube channel, which you can see here. I have about 725 subscribers. And this is targeted towards people wanting to live in Wichita, Kansas, looking to relocate to Wichita, Kansas. And I'm one of the top real estate YouTubers for Wichita, Kansas, and we're growing that as you're probably watching that and you're seeing this. So that's part of it. Also, obviously, these channel analytics where I drive traffic to my website to see your house, get interested parties and all these lead systems. I'm showing you as much as I can without getting YouTube to take it down with people's private contact information or things that I can't be displaying for Kansas in a non-disclosure state. So trying to be as transparent as possible, as much as they will allow me. But obviously there's privacy laws and there's non-disclosure laws that I have to follow to be a regulated, following the rules, following the laws, agent with everything. But if you go back to this, it's pricing, media marketing, and then launch day. The way we launch it's the most important. And then proactivity, as far as I'm very available, but I'm not always available. Also have my partner Rico that helps me service these listings to get them done. And then when it comes down to offer negotiation, this is probably one of the biggest pieces that people are missing, is how much negotiating goes on with fickle buyers agents, people that get real fussy, temperamental. And it's not just being the strong arm bully jerk to get a deal done. It's more of how do we come up with creative, positive solutions to make it work for everyone so we can move forward, so that the buyer feels like they're getting a deal, because usually buyers always want to feel like they're getting a deal, and the seller feels like they're not getting shorted or staffed or bullied. They're ultimately getting the best out of the situation to get the house sold, get the equity, and move on at all. And then protection. This is where my construction background comes in a lot, because there's a lot of things I see in the middle of the deal when it comes to repair requests, where buyers and agents want to blow deals out of proportion, or they almost play this like extortion terrorist game where they want to try to just play hardball and just always threaten to back out if they don't get what they want on it all. So there's a lot of that goes into this piece of it I was mentioning up here on local reputation knowledge around agents, lenders, inspectors, insurance, warranties, title companies, all of these things that come with the experience of who does what, how things work, from being a licensed agent for 8 years and knowing the ins and outs of the game of you know, how you work with us and how we protect you. So let's see, anything else to cover real quickly? Social media accounts, you know, I have my personal Facebook profile. This gives you an idea of like the Wichita home tours we do for walkthroughs that go on our YouTube channel. But really, it's just giving you an idea of we're trying to pull anything and everything we can in order to get your house sold. We recently just got ranked by the Wall Street Journal and Real Trends in the 1,000, the #1 team in Wichita that sells the most amount of houses. So not only do we have a ton of buyers and a ton of agents, you know, we really know this stuff like the back of our hand in and out. And it's because we're very passionate about providing a better marketing and sales agent service model for the consumer, just like when we were consumers also. I mean, we still are. I still own a house. I still flip houses here and there, although I'm getting away from that because I'm doing a lot more of this. But that gives you an idea of just where we're doing everything we can in order to provide a better service experience for the consumers and everyone else. We're just local in Wichita. We love Wichita. That's what we do. And then also I'm partnered up with Urban Cool Homes, which is one of the biggest marketing teams and sources to help pull in as many resources and abilities as I can to help you guys get your home sold eventually, which I'm trying to show you one of our videos on here. But it's a full-on media marketing agency. It does home tours, 3D tours, video walkthroughs, and we have about 60 agents in our staff. And like I said, we're the #1 team in Wichita for the most amount of homes sold and units sold. So we obviously have a lot of insight into what works, what doesn't, what people are doing. And basically it's kind of the concept of the biggest army wins on it all. And teams are more the modern way to work with agents and getting things done in the most progressive, modern, effective way than necessarily some of the old school ways, which the old school ways still work with print and in-person experiences and those human interactions. So it's kind of combining the best of both worlds. Don't just throw the baby out the bathwater. And the last one, again, I can't show you any people, any agents, contact info, any private disclosure things, but this is our broker-based showing system that gives you an idea of showings, feedback reports, regular reoccurrence, and how some of these things work. Because part of this is if it doesn't sell right away, then what? Then what do you do? Well, part of it is all these showings, all this feedback, negotiation strategy. That's where we're very available, but we're not necessarily always available. And you can schedule us at any time within our schedule for a strategy session for where's my listing at, what's going on, and basically just wash, rinse, and repeat until we can get your home sold. And a lot of times the marketing advertising is there, it's displayed appropriately, we're open, we communicate, you can get a hold of us, because I know that's a big problem that a lot of people have is that they can't get a hold of their agent. Whereas we are very available, but give us some grace, we're not always available since we're in demand. And we're one of the leaders when it comes to marketing and sales services with real estate agency services. So that's how you can determine how much equity you have. I have no problem pulling a report for you. If you want to shoot me a message, follow the links below. Have no problem pulling your home equity report, no strings attached, no, you know, pushy salesy processes. It's more service oriented than anything. And then also how we market your house, advertise it to ultimately get it sold, get it negotiated, and get you the best favorable possible situation, provided everything. Oh, the other thing I also forgot to mention is that being a general contractor, I have a lot of knowledge around what things cost, how they work, you know, what's appropriate fix up, so that way you don't over fix it, but you're also not shorting yourself trying to do this cheap homeowner stuff that ultimately isn't going to fly, you know, with all that. And I have a lot of the connections for crews and guys that I can give you depending on your size of need for what you want to do there. But anyway, appreciate you watching. Hopefully it helps you learn a little bit more how modern real estate works today with how much equity you have in your house and then how to market and sell it if you do want to actualize that equity. Another advanced piece of this is, well, how do I take that equity and sell and buy another one? And that's where we can bring in our financial partners. And that's a whole nother video for another time. But anyway, hope this helps you kind of learn more about modern real estate. Appreciate you watching as always. Check out any of my other Wichita videos or things about real estate and see where I could potentially help you there. And follow the links below down too if you want to talk to me, and we'll just go from there. Appreciate you watching. See you later.